be watching this video if you weren't fed up with your state and ready to relocate to Idaho.
But before you do, you're going to want to hear our top 8 reasons why you might want to reconsider that decision.
Stick around, because number 1 might shock you. What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in to today's video. Jacob and I will be going over our top 8 reasons why you should pump the brakes before committing to a relocation to Idaho.
I'm a Boise native and I absolutely love it here. But if you're relocating from out of state, there's a handful of things that you're going to want to know before you make that move.
For sure. My name's Toby.
And I'm Jacob.
And we're both a couple of licensed realtors here in the beautiful state of Idaho. We both love it here, but we do these videos to provide value and content so that you can be as prepared as possible if you plan on relocating here. If this is something that you like, go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel and stay up to date on our weekly videos.
We're fielding phone calls, texts, and emails on a daily basis from people just like you that want to make their relocation dreams to Idaho come true.
Absolutely. Let's get into the video. 8, there's no professional sports teams here. And by professional, I don't mean the Bush League, the minor league stuff. Professional, I mean MLB, NHL, NBA, NFL, none of that here.
He's right, there isn't. But what we do have is the Boise State Broncos. Boise State University is an awesome campus located right downtown, right near the Boise River. Tons of restaurants, bars all around it. Wonderful tailgating opportunities there. And the Boise State Broncos are actually pretty well known here in the Pacific Northwest. Although you guys might know them best for their Smurf turf.
We also have the Idaho Steelheads. This is a AA hockey team that plays downtown in the Century Arena, which is attached to the Grove Hotel. Great venue, affordable place to bring the family and grab a quick bite to eat and walk over to that arena.
Another thing that we have here in Boise, speaking of minor leagues, we have an unaffiliated Boise Hawks baseball team. These guys are up and coming. They're working their way up into the major league. Great venue, again, very affordable, just a few minutes outside of downtown Boise. Highly involved for family fun. They bring the kids down to the field, let them run the bases. My son and I went this last summer. My son caught a fair foul ball, and even some of the team members were kind enough to sign the ball for him. So
that's pretty cool. So we don't have any pro sports teams. I don't foresee any coming on the horizon. We are a fairly small little area here with only about 250,000 people in the valley. So maybe as we continue to grow, so will the sports teams. But until then, you can always go to a rodeo or BSU game.
Number 7, mountain desert landscapes. Now, I know you've seen a number of photos of Idaho with their beautiful mountaintops, their lush forests, their lakes, their rivers, all the above. But today we're specifically talking about southern Idaho and the mountain desert landscape that we have right here in Boise, Treasure Valley.
Idaho is a very scenic place, but specifically in the southwestern region where we're at in the Treasure Valley area, you are predominantly in the mountain desert landscape. This is something that you definitely need to know and be prepared for upon coming here. It's crazy though, because you always hear, Boise, I thought it was called the City of Trees.
That's right. Well, it's not because there's so many trees here. One of the reasons they call it the City of Trees is because in the early 1800s, there were some fur trappers that came through. As they came over the hills, they looked down at the Boise River and they saw a bunch of trees there and they pronounced, Le Bois, Le Bois. Supposedly, that means the trees, the trees. And that's kind of how we got our nickname.
The trees do line the Boise River all the way throughout the valley and provides a very dense, lush landscape that is enjoyed by all. But just north of there, you have predominantly rolling foothills, sagebrush, and you have some great mountain snow-capped views about 6 months out of the year.
Those northern foothills are great for mountain biking and hiking as well. But if you look to the south of the Boise River, it gets pretty flat, not really exciting. You're gonna see lava rocks, sagebrush, some grass. All that was farmland not too long ago, and now with the growth that we had here in the Boise Treasure Valley, it's predominantly neighborhoods, homes, some commercial. There is a lot of trees there though, but they were brought in for the neighborhoods essentially.
Yep. So if you are looking for something that is a little bit more lush with beautiful rivers and lakes and mountain landscapes that are dense with woods and forests, then you probably want to go just a short drive north and you can catch all of that. Reason number 6, bipolar weather. If this is something that's already intimidating to you, then I can tell you Idaho's not going to be the right fit, because we have some extreme fluctuations in our temperature, from the negative degree temps in the winter months all the way up to the low 100s in the summer months.
Winters can be pretty intimidating for our clients that are coming here from out of state. They're not ready, they're not prepared for the snow that does hit the valley. We get around 18 inches in the wintertime, but the good news about bipolar weather is it only lasts on the ground for 2 to 3 days. The worst part of our winters is probably our inversion. Our inversion basically is a low cloud cover that kind of socks up against our foothills, keeping it pretty gray and a little cool here in the valley compared to the temperatures above those clouds. So if you're getting that gray, dreary, ready to get out of here and you want some sunshine, head up to Bogus Basin or head north to McCall and get some vitamin D.
Absolutely, yes. Another thing you want to be prepared for here is adjusting your wardrobe. There's going to be some items that you're going to need for the winter months. I think snow boots is a must. I think a good winter jacket, especially being a down-filled winter jacket, is needed. And you can get a lot of these things at your local Costco, although you might end up looking like a dad afterwards. The spring tease is real. Do not put away your winter clothes just yet. Keep your gloves, your jackets, and beanies handy, because you will need them for the entire spring. I remember I set up my pop-up tent out a little bit too early, and a heavy gust of wind literally blew it over my roof and broke it down into several pieces. So be very cautionary during springtime. This isn't summer weather yet. Jacob, tell us about summer.
Summertime is one of the best seasons we have here in Idaho. The temperatures typically range from 70 to the low 100s. Now, if you like to get out and recreate outside, you're probably going to want to go in the morning or the late evenings, because in the middle of the day, it gets hot, especially in July and August. Now, if you have to get outside in July and August, I suggest you go out and buy some water. Take the kids to the pool, float the Boise River, or head up to Lucky Peak for some water skiing. One other thing that you're going to want to know about summertime here in Idaho is our sunsets are late. We're at the end of the mountain time zone and our sun doesn't set till 9:30, almost 10 o'clock at night. So you're probably going to want to invest in some blackout blinds so you can get those kids to bed at an early time. Now, Toby, tell us a little bit about fall.
Fall. This is an incredible time of the year, a great time to get out there and do something fun with the family or friends. You have fall festivals that are kicking off all throughout the valley, and beautiful colors with the leaves changing and people harvesting their crops. And then you have your Boise Bronco tailgates, which Jacob really wanted me to mention that. You're gonna love this time of year. Get out there and do something fun.
Number 5, harmful plants and animals. Idaho is known for its great outdoors, and we do love to get outside and enjoy all the outdoor activities that Idaho has to offer. But when we're doing that, we do need to be aware and be prepared for an encounter with the occasional plant or animal that could be harmful. Some of those animals might be bears,
Rattlesnakes,
coyotes,
the goat head. That's one of the harmful plants.
Oh yeah, goat heads. If you're a mountain biker, these are the worst. They pop your tires and you could be stranded on the foothills for hours if your cell phone's not working.
You don't want to roll it back down the hill either. So there's this solution though to that called the slime.
Oh yeah.
You pump it through your bike tires, you spin your bike tires and make sure it's nice and lubricated throughout the entire inside of the tire. And when you do, which you will run through and run over a goat head, it just happens, your tire will prevent itself from being deflated.
Yeah, it is pretty helpful. Highly recommend it. There's also a thing called Toughies. It's a hard plastic layer you can put between your tube and your tire. Will also help prevent some of these goat heads. Some of the other plants that can be dangerous that you might run into on hikes around our valley is stinging nettle, poison oak, poison ivy. There's a couple others, but
Couple others. Yeah, if you're gonna be outdoors, if you're gonna be camping and hiking, just be prepared, you know? Have a couple guns handy. No, a little bit of bug spray should be sufficient, and maybe some bear spray. I haven't seen a bear. Have you seen a bear out here?
Not
Even in
the valley.
McCall?
Not in the I have seen them in McCall.
So we do have some harmful plants and animals out here. Just be prepared. Number 4. We kind of did a little foreshadowing earlier with this one, but this is Idaho's gun rights. The Second Amendment is the right to bear arms, and here in Idaho, we take a lot of pride in that, with over 60% of the population here in Idaho being gun carriers themselves.
Idaho is a concealed carry state, so a lot of people are packing. If you're coming from out of state where maybe you're not used to seeing a whole lot of people carrying guns, that can be a bit of a shock, a little bit of a surprise to see the person in the booth next to you at the restaurant with a gun on his hip. Or
At 18 years old, mind you.
Yes, you can conceal carry or open carry at 18 years old here in Idaho. And as Toby already expressed, people take that seriously here.
Absolutely, and a big part of our clientele came here to Idaho specifically for those reasons. So if that is you, then Idaho might be the right fit for you.
Number 3, education. Now, Idaho ranks 44 out of 50 in the nation. I know this isn't great.
Sharp as a potato.
But you have to keep in mind that the majority of Idaho schools and the majority of Idaho population is rural. So a lot of these schools are in the country, in smaller towns, and education's probably not the top of their list out there. There is some good news though. Idaho recently passed a bill.
$410 million passed by Brad Little, our governor, to improve Idaho's education.
So the hope is we are improving, we are moving on up and doing what we need to do in order to better that ranking that we have. I know that some of these rankings are not top-notch, are not exciting, but keep in mind that Boise and the greater Treasure Valley does have some pretty great public, private, and charter schools. So the state as a whole is not reflected here locally in Boise when it comes to education. So check out our video. We did a whole video on education. It'll give you a lot more information if you're looking for a little more education on Idaho education.
Number 2. Idaho is a red state. So we understand that this could be a little bit polarizing, but we feel that you should know that Idaho is a red state, and if you are wanting a little less government involvement in your life and a reduction with some of your taxes, then Idaho could be a good fit for you.
We also understand that if you don't fall in line with some of those values that are associated with a red state, that this might be an issue for you. Now, we do want to let everyone know that everybody is welcome in Idaho, and there are some pockets of blue, but as a whole, Idaho does tend to vote red.
Number 1, low wages and expensive housing. Idaho has been notorious over the past couple years for being one of the most overinflated real estate markets in the country. Granted, things are starting to balance out a little bit better right now.
Oh, yeah.
Last year, 2022, our average price point of home was right around $600,000. Now, we have had a big uptick in our luxury real estate market that has definitely affected that number and brought it up. But as far as the lower end of housing, you can get into a home for right around $300,000.
But with expensive housing, one of the biggest challenges is our wages. Our wages have been notoriously low, unfortunately. In fact, the wages here in Idaho have been about 12% lower than the national average, coming in a little over $22 an hour. The Boise Economic Partnership has stepped up their game. They are trying to bring new companies into the valley, and they're doing their best to incentivize these companies to bring more jobs by giving them tax incentives and land incentives. There's some other companies that have been stepping in to help out too, right?
Yeah, the Idaho Department of Labor has some great programs that if you are relocating here, looking to start a new career, they offer incentives such as paid internships and free educational programs. So take advantage of those at the Idaho Department of Labor website.
That's great. So we wanted to say, if you've made it this far into the video, thank you so much. We really appreciate you guys watching our channel. If you have made it this far, we'd love for you to like, subscribe, share among your friends. All those likes really help us grow the channel, and we just really appreciate it.
And if you're taking the step towards relocating to Idaho, give us a call, text, email. Jacob and I will be the ones answering those phone calls. and would love to help you out on your journey to relocate to Idaho. Until the next video, y'all take care.